Bring us up, if you would, please. All right, we're back in session, still talking about budgets, and this one is the Historical Society.
Yes.
Please say your name.
I'm Lynn Murdoch. I'm the director at the Bannock County Historical Society and Museum.
Okay, let's talk about your budget.
All right. Well, we have asked for some increases this year, partially due to just general increases in overall utility costs and just operating costs in general. Also some salary increases. The employees there, the last salary increase was 4 years ago. We also received no benefits, so we have no medical, dental, or anything, so everything is out of pocket for us. So we're just asking for a small increase for everyone so that we can kind of try to cover cost of living increases that are happening across the board.
Real quick,
Is that the contract?
So look a couple pages back, and you'll see her breakdown. It'll say 2023 request, and it line items it out for you.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sorry, our page just shows a one sheet
Oh, yes.
summary,
Yeah.
so this allows them to see the detail.
Right. Okay. So we were also asking for some marketing materials this year because post-COVID, there's just been not as much visitorship, and we want to kind of try to spend a little more money reaching out in general. Our primary audience tends to be out-of-town travelers, and we would like to try and market a little more to the community and try to find ways to involve them more and bring them in, because the external visitorship seems to be pretty steady for this time of year in particular. So we had also asked for to cover the change in the lighting that's happening, the scope of work relating to the lighting repairs that are going on once the roof is complete. But I honestly don't know if Daniel Kendall has included that in the overall county's budget this year or not, so we might need to follow up on that. We may not need that capital outlay.
Okay.
Okay, we'll check.
So I would make sure that that doesn't happen so that we don't ask for things we don't need.
In an ideal world, we pay for it out of this levy, because it's associated with the historical building.
Okay.
But we'll see what he's got going on.
Yes. So overall, that is just pretty much what we're asking for. We're working to create better partnerships with the other museums and things locally. This year we have a pass that allows somebody to visit each entity for a slightly reduced price for the Museum of Clean, us, the Museum of Natural History, the water park, and also the Zoo Idaho. So they can buy one of the passes and use it once during the summer at each place, and you can have a youth pass or a adult pass or a family pass. We've also developed a working reciprocal membership benefit with the State Museum and several other museums in the state of Idaho that allows them to pay membership at our museum, and our membership card will allow them to go to any of the other participating museums and vice versa. So we're trying to get people who just like museums to buy one membership at any museum and go to everybody. And we're trying to expand that program by communicating with other museums and historical societies. There's also going to be a change in the signage by the city that will help us drastically because people can't find us sometimes. The signage at the bottom of the cliffs is really bad, and the sign is broken, it's brown, it's tall, and it's shadowed by a tree. So all of the new signs that the city is putting in for the park, citywide, are these tall, bright green, kind of a leaf background with white print, very durable sign, and they're going to be putting a new one at the bottom of the hill there for us that will include the historical complex. So that's going to help us as well. And I've been in meetings with John Banks about that. People come to see the fort. We're trying to make sure it's spruced up. We've had a good working relationship with the city on that. They're going to be spending some money to do some more repairs over there this year. And we've got a group of volunteers, about 15, 20 people who come in every other week to help clean up the grounds and are doing some painting and stuff volunteer-wise down in the little town to make it more attractive to visitors. So we're trying to make sure that we have a product that we can market. When we can spare the staff, we go to Art Walk and other places and try to make sure that the community knows we're there. Our biggest issue that we're facing at the end of 100 years is that we need to know where we're going for the next 100. The building is beyond capacity. The compactor storage systems bought us 9 more years in that building, but we can't take in any more collections at this point. So we are literally overflowing. A lot of materials from the museum are also on display in the little town, but the little Pocatello Junction is actually city property. So if at some point they decide to do something different with it, we may have to pull back those collections. And at that point, we really don't have any place to go with them. I would love to see us have a second building, so maybe somewhere in Old Town, one of the older buildings, that could be a second location for us. Yeah.
Questions? Comments?
Nope.
Nope, we'll check with Dan about that electrical.
Okay.
So then come up with, when are they supposed to be done with the roof?
Sorry?
When are they?
I just text Dan to get an update. I'm uncertain, but it's been awarded and to get going. And then there's the internal that needs to be repaired. Beyond that.
Yeah, and that was through Elite, and they had given us a prior bid for that, and that money was already there as far as I know. The insurance is covering it, yes.
Yep, that's.
Remember going to the museum when it was in the old library? That's when I toured it.
Yeah, I thought you'd find that interesting. That's just a little article that we wrote. We had this text panel on display at the public library along with an exhibit. So it's just a little breakdown of where we are, where we're going in the future, we hope. So.
Well, I'll just tell you that this is one budget that confuses me because I don't know what part's ours and what part isn't. We have no say on the board, and it's frustrating to me.
And it's a little weird because I did some checking on it, where we are a 501c3. You're a 501c3, so the county has they have 2 options. The county can have an entity do it, or we can do it and appoint a board like snowmobile board and all that other stuff. Where the entity, the 501c3 does it, we just pay the entity. Now what really gets confusing is typically if a 501c3 does it, then the building and all that other stuff is owned by that entity, not by the county. But this is where we're kind of a weird
Cross lines a lot.
yeah, and it's not that it's right or that it's wrong or whatever. It's just how the organizational structure works. There is some stuff with the city of Pocatello. To tell you the truth, I know you'd like a second building in a different location, but I actually think that having it all in one location is actually the best. And to tell you the truth, if the city of Pocatello ever does what they're talking about doing with their long-term 20-year plan of Ross Park, where they're going to change the road and they want to do a whole bunch of other stuff, I actually think it would be far more beneficial for you to be there and stay there and do that, because it will make your access way much easier. And to tell you the truth, you probably get a lot more people coming off I-15 that will stop and go to the museum than if you were off of and away from that. If the city ever does that change of how they want to do their road access, you would probably get a lot more.
One of the things that we had looked into was doing an extension of the building, and I had sent some of those plans over.
Yeah.
Because we'd had a draft plan of how to put a 2-story addition onto the museum itself.
Well, going up is expensive. What I would do, to tell you the truth, is they're not always the prettiest, but I would just go off the back side of your building and I would put me 50 by 100 steel building, as big as you could build it, and I would have
Yeah, the city will be upset with the view of the fort from the,
That's okay.
from the highway.
That's okay.
Because one of the things we have is, people can see the complex from the highway, and it helps draw them in. You get that all the time.
Hence my frustration.
You could paint it white. You could paint it white and make it reminiscent of the fort. But what I'm saying is there's other ways that you could do that. The biggest problem that you're going to have is because the funds and how they're done. You're not.
Well, the original building was built on donation.
Yeah. So I mean, if we could ever get
that's
back,
the kind of thing that we would, be trying to look into.
well, and to tell you the truth, I would probably start working out a capital plan right now, and I would start trying to get donations, because it will probably take you,
Yeah,
No.
I'm sure it's going to take some
I
time.
mean, the Museum of Natural History, they've only been trying to build a new museum since 1964.
They were actually on the building list, and then they chose to build the Performing Arts Center.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, that's a whole.
I was
other-
there. I was there for that.
All right.
Cool.
Yes, ma'am.
Do have one item that we need to add in there, is
Mm-hmm.
the Lava Historical, because we also pay that out of there, 12,000.
Okay.
And that is
they?
separate from, because it's a historical levy, we also pay for the sale.
Pay for them, okay.
Yeah, out of that same thing, they have a separate line item,
Oh, okay,
so.
yeah. I wasn't sure, you know, I've been asked in the past about, you know, them, but I don't really know.
Yeah, no,
'Cause it's a-
commission met with them already.
Okay.
2 weeks ago,
Okay,
so.
all right,
All right,
Thank
thank
Cool,
you.
thank you.
thank you.
Commission, Dan Kendall did get back with me, so it's on schedule to be completed by the beginning of next fiscal year, so like September 30, the end of this one. But supply chains being.
No, that's fine, I just was curious. They haven't started on it yet, though, have they?
No. Mm-mm. Just as soon as those materials are ready, they're ready to get going. but-
Well, so, and then that begs the question too, of why we have two separate groups.
Well, then,
Yeah, why? They're not, one's a 501c3 and the other one's a 501c3. But what I'm saying is typically most counties only have one museum. They have one group, one organization, and this is the problem, is that we, for so long in the county, it was politically expedient to have multiple things across the county because nobody wanted to make a hard decision.
well, on this one, I choose lava. Look at the difference in what we pay out.
Well, and that's part of the discussion. That is part of the discussion, is what is, you know, it says we're required to have a historical society and a museum.